our today's lecture, we will talk about all the factors that we can manipulate to produce a quality radiograph, and that is the under control of the radiologic technologist. But before discussing those factors, we will talk about the motion blur as well. The causes of the motion blur, as the name suggests, can be due to the motion of the patient, or it can be due to the motion of the X-ray tube. So ultimately, the motion of either of these will degrade your image. The movement of the patient or the X-ray tube during the exposure results in the blurring of the radiographic image. This loss of radiographic quality is called the motion blur, and definitely this is the main reason of the repeated radiographs, and the result of the repeated radiograph will be the increased patient dose, and also it will leave a very bad impact on the patient, so it should be avoided. It's your responsibility to prepare the machine and also instruct the patient before starting your procedure, so that you can avoid the motion blur. Normally, motion of the X-ray tube is not a problem. Sometimes a table or a restraining device is caused to move by the auxiliary equipment, such as the moving grid mechanism. So the major cause of the motion blur is the patient motion, and you can reduce the motion blur by using the shortest possible exposure time. Definitely, the more shorter the exposure time is, the more less will be the chances of the motion blur. Restrict the patient motion by providing the instruction or using a restraining device. Before starting the exam, it's your responsibility to instruct the patient to not move, and also if the patient is not in his or her senses or cannot follow your instructions, then immobilize the limbs of the patient. You can find such devices or the straps near the X-ray table, and you can use those straps to immobilize the limbs of the patient to avoid the motion, and ultimately you can control the motion blur. Next, you can reduce the OID. It's very important to keep your object as nearly possible to the image receptor, and to keep the source to image receptor distance as large as possible. So by keeping the SID large and by keeping the OID small, you can not only avoid the motion blur, but you can also avoid the focal blur. The radiographer can reduce motion blur by carefully instructing the patient, take a deep breath and hold it, don't move. So this is the instruction that you give to a patient when you are doing the chest X-ray. Patient motion of two types may occur. Voluntarily motion of the limbs and muscles is controlled by the immobilization, as I just told you that you can use the straps to immobilize the patient limbs. Involuntarily motion of the heart and lungs is controlled by the short exposure time. Definitely you cannot control the motion of the heart and lungs, so you can control them by keeping the exposure time as short as possible. It will not only minimize the motion, but it will also reduce the patient dose. Motion blur is affected primarily by the four factors that we just discussed, and with the use of the low ripple power and the high speed image receptors, you can keep the exposure time short, and definitely due to that the motion will be virtually eliminated as a common clinical problem. So by using three phase or high ripple high speed image receptor, and the low ripple power and the 3-phase generators, you can keep the exposure time shorter, and you can avoid the motion blur. Next, you have the tools to produce the radiographs with the improved quality, and it's your responsibility to keep them at the optimum levels. So the first factor that you can control is the patient positioning, which is very important. So what you should consider, you should keep your patient as closely possible to the image receptor. And the next thing is that the patient should lie parallel to the image receptor. And the final factor that you can control is the immobilization. So your patient should be immobilized effectively to minimize the motion blur. The importance of the patient positioning should now be clear. Proper patient positioning requires that the anatomical structure under investigation be placed as close to the image receptor as is practical. So the first thing that you should consider is that you should place your patient as close as possible to the image receptor, and the axis of the structure should lie in a plane that is parallel to the plane of the image receptor, and the central ray should be incident on the center of the structure. And finally, the patient must be immobilized effectively to minimize the motion blur. To be able to position the patients properly, radiologic technologists must have a good knowledge of the human anatomy. If multiple structures are being radiographed and are to be imaged with a uniform magnification, they must be positioned at the same distance from the image receptor. The various techniques that are applied to radiographic positioning are designed to produce radiographs with minimal image distortion and the maximum image resolution. So the first factor that we studied is the patient positioning, and the things that we should consider while positioning the patient are that you should keep your patient as closely possible to the image receptor. The axis should be parallel to the image receptor, and the central ray should incident on the center of the structure. And finally, you should immobilize the patient so that you can avoid the motion blur. And if you want to image your anatomical structure under investigation with the uniform magnification, then you should position the patient at the constant distance from the image receptor. Next, you have the image receptors, and usually a standard type of screen film image receptor is used throughout the radiology department for a given type of examination. We know that nowadays we use a screen film combination as image receptor, and in general for the extremity and the soft tissue radiographs you use the fine detail screen film combination, and we know that we use the double emulsion film with screens. The new structured grain X-ray film used with the high resolution intensifying screens produce exquisite images with the limited patient dose. So the high resolution intensifying screens will produce the images with a limited patient dose. So the principles that you should consider when planning a particular examination are that you should use the intensifying screen that will decrease the patient dose by a factor of at least 20. As the speed of the image receptor increases, the radiographic noise increases and the spatial resolution will reduce. So when you will use the high speed image receptor, although it will produce images with the good quality, but the disadvantage along with using the high speed image receptor is the increased radiographic noise, and ultimately it will decrease the spatial resolution. The low contrast imaging procedures have wider latitude or margin of error in producing an acceptable radiograph. Latitude means the range of exposures uh, for which your radiographic emulsion can produce acceptable contrast. And when I am talking about the low contrast imaging procedure, that means we are talking about those uh, procedures in which we are going to cover those structures with the uniform contrast. For example, the kidney and the liver. Let's say the liver has a slightly higher contrast as compared to the kidney, but they can appear uniform. So these are the procedures with the low contrast characteristics. So for that you have a increased margin of error in producing the acceptable radiograph. Next, you have the selection of the technique factors that include the KVP, MS, and exposure time. Before each examination, the radiologic technologist must select the optimum radiographic technique factors, that is the KVP, MS, and the exposure time. So we know that we will increase the KVP, and by increasing the KVP we will increase the quality and also at some extent the quantity, and the exposure time should be minimum, and also the MS. Many considerations determine the value of each of these factors, and they are complexly interrelated. Few generalizations are possible. One generalization that can be made for all the radiographic exposure is that the time of the exposure should be as short as possible. So for that we use the high frequency generators and the 3-phase and the high frequency generators, and they are better than the single phase generators because they provide us the shorter exposure times. So the first point that we learned in the selection of the technique factor is that we need to keep the exposure time as short as possible. Similar simple statements cannot be made about the selection of the KVP or MA because time is to be kept to a minimum. The selection of the KVP and MA and the resulting MAS value should be considered. The radiographer should strive for the optimum radiographic contrast and ODs by exposing the patient to the property, quantity, and the quality of the X radiation. Just remember that the KVP will affect your contrast, the subject contrast that we have discussed earlier. The KVP is a very important factor that can influence the contrast, while the MS, because it is the quantity of the X-ray, so it will manipulate the optical density of your radiograph. Because optical density depends on the transmission, as you increase the MAS, there will be more X-rays and there will be more transmission of the X-rays to the image receptor. The primary control of the radiographic contrast is the KVP. As KVP is increased, both the quantity and to some extent the quantity and the quality of the X radiation are increased. A greater number of the X-rays are transmitted through the patient, so a higher portion of the primary beam reaches the image receptor. Thus, KVP also affects the optical density. Among X-rays that interact with the patient, the relative number of Compton interactions increases with increasing KVP, that we have discussed in the chapter of the X-ray interaction with the matter, resulting in the less differential absorption and reduced subject contrast. Furthermore, with increased KVP, the scatter radiation that reaches the image receptor is greater. Therefore, the radiographic noise will be higher and it will degrade the spatial resolution, and also there will be increased patient dose. The result of increased KVP is loss of contrast. When radiographic contrast is low, the latitude is high and the margin for error is increased. The principal advantages of the use of high KVP include a reduction in the patient dose and a wide latitude of exposures allowed in the production of the diagnostic radiograph. As compared to the MS, definitely by increasing the KVP, the dose will be low as compared to the MS when we increase it. So the relative technique factors are indicated on each of the radiograph. This is an example in which we have used different factors. From the upper left image, in which we selected the high KVP with the half normal MS, and on its compare in the image below when we use the low KVP and the half normal MS, the high KVP with normal MS and with the high KVP and twice normal MS, you can see that with the high KVP the image contrast is better as compared to the one that we use with the low KVP. So you can see that we have less contrast, the radiographic contrast with the low KVP technique, but we have the high radiographic contrast when we use the high KVP technique. And the primary control of optical density is your MS. So the primary control of your radiographic contrast is the KVP, while the primary control of the optical density is the MS. As the MS value is increased, the radiation quantity increases. Therefore, the number of X-rays arriving at the image receptor will also increase, resulting in the higher optical density and the lower radiographic noise but higher patient radiation dose. In a secondary way, the MS value also influences the contrast. Recall that the maximum contrast is attained only when the film is exposed over a range that results in OD along the straight line portion of the characteristic curve. Too low an MS setting results in low optical density and reduced radiographic contrast, but the H and D curve has flattened. Too high an MS value results in the high OD and loss of the radiographic contrast for the same reason. So we only want the intermediate portion where we can get the higher or optimum optical density. By keeping the too low MS setting, we would have the low optical density, and by keeping the too high MS, we would have a very high optical density and the loss of radiographic contrast in both conditions. So we want the central value for the optical density. A number of other factors can influence optical density and the radiographic contrast and hence the radiographic quality, and these can be the adding filtration to the X-ray tube that will reduce the beam intensity and it will enhance the quality, and a change in the SID results in a change in the optical density because the X-ray intensity varies with the distance. By increasing the SID, the intensity will definitely decrease and it will increase the image quality. So the continuing trend in the radiographic technique is to use the high KVP with the compensating reduction in the MS to produce a radiograph of satisfactory quality while reducing the patient dose and the likelihood of an ordered re-examination because of an error in the technique. So that's all for today, and we have completed our chapter. If you have any query regarding this chapter or regarding any topic, then you can ask. Thank you so much.